Welcome everyone. We're here with Soul Live again, and we welcome you especially at home and everyone here in the audience. Today we have a special guest, a musical guest, which is always fun. He's special to Tom and I because he's also a neighbor. Helps to keep the vibrations in the hood up, you know. So we'd like you to welcome with us Steve Gold.
Wonderful,
Hi,
nice to
Steve.
be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here today.
Well, he's one of Steve. If you don't know Steve or his music, he's one of the favorites here. His CDs are some of the favorites during our yoga classes. So
Wonderful.
yeah, I know. Isn't that nice? So
Yeah.
when I announced that we were going to do Soul Live with you, some people wanted to stay and enjoy, get to know the
Fantastic.
person behind the vibration,
Great,
behind the
wonderful.
voice.
I'd like to get to know that person too.
Your mother, no.
Yeah, well, actually, that's right. I have to say, my mother was singing to me apparently when I was in the womb.
Is that right?
Yeah, and she hums still to this day. She's a singer. And so I have to say, I give the mother credit.
Aw,
for sure.
yeah.
Now that's very ancient custom right there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
So I think many indigenous cultures had singing in to the soul in the womb.
Yes.
Part not only of the family, but then I've heard that in some cultures, then that same song that they hummed to the child was sung by the community when the child was born.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, in
and then when
Africa,
they
right?
pass too.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past too.
When they pass too, yes.
So now you have a little boy.
I do.
Did you guys sing to him?
We did.
All right, so there
We
it
had
is.
him at home in the water,
Mm-hmm.
and I sang "There's So Much Magnificence
Oh,
Near
you
the
did.
Ocean" while she was, working it.
Did now,
Nice.
Anna Malie is your
Yes.
is your partner usually.
Yes.
She's home raising baby for a
Yeah,
while.
that's right,
But
that's
did she
right.
sing too during her labor?
Her own version. Yeah, right. It was a quick labor, I will
Was
say.
it?
Yeah, like 7 hours, so she didn't have to sing
Wow.
too long. But I would play my guitar and sing while she was in the water, and then she would say, "Okay," and I would put the guitar down and help her while we were kind of doing this tug of war thing while she was delivering, and then
Right.
I'd go back and sing, and there's how it went. And
Nice.
he came out
Alright.
to so much magnificence.
And he's magnificent.
He is magnificent, yeah, and he recognizes music now. He'll be a year this April 21st, a year old, and I've just noticed recently the way he interacts with music now is it's obvious that he's connected. He's starting to dance, and he'll start to his version of singing, and it's beautiful. So yeah, I think it starts young, and then of course I just saw a video the other day. I put it up on my Facebook page. It touched me so much. It was about a man who is very, very old. Had been in an old folks' home for 10 years. He'd been sitting still, and they finally introduced an iPod, headphones to him, and what happens instantly to him upon first listening is just, he comes to life.
Oh.
He's completely animated, and he starts to sing. And he starts making sounds like a baby almost, And then what's beautiful is they ask him, so was music important to you when you were young? He says, oh yes, I love music. And then he begins to sing the songs like he remembered all the words, and his voice was so beautiful. He had
Wow.
intonation. It's like he was reborn, to music. So there you go. That's why I'm doing this.
So, I mean, speaking of which, you really have deep interest in the healing power of music.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like I did entertainment for a long time, and I'm sure it reached some people. But once I started to sing in yoga, and it wasn't intentional that I felt like, maybe this music could heal people or anything like that. That really wasn't it. I really just wanted to connect with people with music. It became apparent to me that it was touching people's hearts, and then people started to make me aware of their experiences. And oftentimes, I just received an email the other day, a woman saying, particularly that song, So Much Magnificence, it's taking care of her insomnia. And she can't get enough of the feeling of it. That's what she said. She didn't say listening to it, she said the feeling of it. So I feel that touches somebody then at a feeling level that then gives them the healing response,
Right.
So I've been exploring that more, and I've been aligning my music more with healing charities and opportunities where I can present myself to people who need healing. Yeah.
Have you always been singing? I mean,
Oh yeah, my whole life. Yeah, singing was first. Guitar playing came later.
was that a teenage thing?
Yeah, teenage thing. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to meet some girls. I wasn't a football player, so I needed something. So anyway,
Did it work?
it did. It did work. Yeah, I met my wife singing. I'll say that. We were actually that's a wonderful story of manifestation. We were singing a mantra for meeting your soulmate.
You didn't know each other?
No, we did not. We'd never seen each other until that day, and we were actually in a large circle, maybe 75 people. It was hosted by David Permal, who chants in the music, yoga world, and her partner Miten, beautiful people. And they had warned us that this mantra was for attracting your soulmate and that there was no remedy. So careful what you ask for. And so our voices met before we did in the room, yeah. And then at the end of the class, I'll never forget it, I asked her, we chatted a little bit, and I asked her if she'd like to meet sometime, and she said, why? And I figured, I'm in trouble now. So, but she gave me a shot, and we've been singing together ever since. And she sings on both the albums, of course.
Nice.
And so, yeah, beautiful singer.
Yeah, and her name is Annemarie.
Annemarie, yes. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like we need to do something like that. Do you remember the mantra?
Oh, yes, I do,
Do you
of
want to
course.
meet your soulmate?
I already have, but there's others sitting in
Yeah,
this room and are going to be
sure.
watching this video that
That's
would love
right.
to meet their soulmate.
That's right. The mantra is actually not recorded on either of the albums, but it is available. We did release it, actually.
Okay.
We can talk about that later, but the mantra has two parts. It has a part for the men and a part for the women.
Nice.
And the men's part is Om Shrim Shriye Namaha. And simply that means please bring more Shakti energy into my life. Yeah.
I will sing it first, just the line.
It's Om Shrim Shriye Namaha. That's the line. Yeah. And that would also apply to attracting abundance in your life. You could sing that to Lakshmi. So there's different ways, depending upon your intention and your heart's desire, what you want to create. And the second part is for the women. And that part sounds like this. Sat patim dehi parameshvara. And the melody line is Sat patim dehi parameshvara. And so the men would sing Om Shrim Shriye Namaha Sat patim dehi parameshvara Om Shrim Shriye Namaha Sat patim dehi parameshvara. That's right.
Keep going, man. This is a very good
It's working,
song.
huh? What's beautiful I have to say about this is now that it's been out there, and we released this actually in 2010, I realize a lot of people have been chanting it. And it's, it is, I don't know, I feel like, because my part is just asking for more Shakti in my life, right? But I figure if people are playing it over and over again, my chant's going out there, it's my voice that's kind of resonating out in the universe with that, right? And so much abundance is coming in. So I say, yeah, chant it, chant it. Yeah.
So, but question,
Yeah.
if people are watching this and they write it down, they want to do it themselves, if they're female, they just do the female
Yes,
part.
Sat patim dehi parameshvara for the women.
And
yeah.
if they're male, they just do the male part.
Om Shrim Shriye Namaha.
And you just hope somewhere out there your partner is singing the other.
Yes, exactly. They are singing it.
That's
I think it's a
somewhere,
matter
right?
of your voices meeting.
Yeah.
Really.
Because traditionally in India, isn't there classic ragas? And
Yes.
the ragas are, you have the morning raga, you have an
Yes.
afternoon raga, you don't sing the evening raga in the morning, Because-
That is very strict, isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
Because those are definitely aligned to the energies.
Yes, to the energies. Yes, exactly right. Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's traditions that are so deeply enculturated that here in the West we're all like we're cowboys. I mean, we're doing it our own way.
Yeah.
And so I have deep respect for the power of mantra, but I have to say, I guess as a Westerner who's exploring a modern way of approaching things, without any disrespect for those cultures or the influences, I have taken the mantras and just kind of run with them. So I don't I'm not sure the best time to chant them, honestly. I feel like they're a call to the divine. They're kind of like crisis management, and things are, not going as I would wish for some reason. I've got some attachment about something, so I invoke those. Yeah. I've gotten a lot better, though, honestly, to align my mantra practice when I'm feeling grateful, too. So it's not just crisis management. I think it began there. And it's kind of upgraded now to just being thankful. It's celebratory then, right?
Yeah.
So you write your own mantras? I mean, your songs? I
Yeah,
know the lyrics
for the most part, I will say yes. There's a few, of course, that I have covered, and So Much Magnificence, for example, I did not write that song. I've made it popular with the version that I've done, but I learned it 10 years ago or so from Deva Premal, and it was around the same time that I got to know them, and then later met my wife through them, and that mantra I shared.
But now, was that written by Deva and Miten, or
no? It was written by Peter McKenna.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, and it's quite an old song. And actually, what I know of it, he didn't write the lyrics. It's a Hafiz poem.
There you go.
Yeah.
That
So
makes sense.
I really got to go way back to the, what would
Yeah.
Hafiz say if he didn't hear,
Right.
I imagine he'd just say waves are coming in. So
That's
he wouldn't be
right.
too worried about it. But it's a Hafiz poem that was put to music with a melody by Peter, and then
Interesting.
I learned it from
Nice.
Deva Premal. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying I do cover other people's songs, and that was the song that touched me deeply when I heard it, enough so that it inspired me to go from what I'd been doing. I'd been playing blues. I was in a blues band for 15 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I love the blues, but I don't have the blues. So it was kind of...
So you upgraded.
Yeah, upgraded, exactly, yeah. So, but if you listen to my new album, the first album with So Much Magnificence is kind of folk-based.
And that's
This one here, yeah. May I
Okay.
open this copy?
yes.
Yeah, I
think
can
so.
always get you another one.
Okay.
Because there's my wife, Annemie and
there she
I.
is.
And so we, both of our voices are featured on this CD. And There Is So Much Magnificence, the song is on this. And this is more of a folk-based acoustic format. And before I talk about that other album, though, I will share, the first track on here is called Om Namah Shivaya. And that's the mantra that really kind of started me on this path. And I'll just share a little bit about how that happened, because that really did direct why I'm here today, truly. It was just over 20 years ago I had a call to move to Maui. And there was a man living there, and he was a friend of a friend, said, I'll pick you up at the airport, and I showed up at his place, and beautiful place in the jungle. It was just a shack, really, but the setting was right, And he had a waterfall in the backyard, and no running water, no electricity. We had a propane burner and a propane fridge. So this was like off the grid before that was, popular. And the first morning I woke up, he was chanting the Guru Gita, which is a long practice, took about an hour, And I didn't know the Guru Gita, and I certainly didn't know how to chant that. But I was really moved by that at sunrise, and I noticed there was a photo on the shelf there of his guru, which was Muktananda, and under the picture it said Om Namah Shivaya. And I'd heard that mantra, but I didn't really know, it hadn't touched me. Didn't really know what it meant. And then under that in English it said, I am that I am. And that resonated with me. I could go there, Because for me, at the time, the thought of like bowing to a deity or something was, once again, that's a cultural, heritage, really, that isn't part of mine, So, but I could relate to I am that I am, probably from an egotistical standpoint at the time. Yeah, I'm that. But once I started to chant the mantra and it touched me in a different way, I understood it more in the terms of Christ, because I am, so are you. That's how it related to me more deeply. And I would go to the waterfall every day. That was my occupation for a year. I would just go to the waterfall and chant. And so that's where I composed that mantra, actually, and that made it on the album,
Nice.
17 years later or something. But it really began there, because until that happened, I wasn't really into mantra or composing songs about, devotion, anything like that. And it was always present, even when I was in the blues or playing blues. And then I think the combination of the two of those things really came together on the newer album, Let Your Heart Be Known. And this is really kind of an infusion of roots music and blues and folk with mantra. And we also created this so that it could appeal to a wide audience, because I feel like, yogis are already turned on, the light's on. But I want to reach people that need the light turned on. So that's why there's some mantra in here, but not exclusively. I think this is more about getting to your heart's desire and letting your heart sing. So there you go. Maybe we'll play some Om Namah Shivaya.
Maybe so.
Nice prelude to that.
Yeah.
Yogananda said love is the song of the soul singing to God. And when I heard that, I thought, how beautiful. To me, that just means that my soul is in a love song. It is constant because of its oneness with Spirit. It is just in a constant love song with God. So I just thought singing and devotional singing, that's ancient too, right?
Yes.
Is really letting the soul sink.
Yes.
Through the heart.
Through the heart. And the Radiant Sutras, it says, ancient yogic text, it says the universe is constantly singing itself into existence.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah. How could we not sing?
Yeah.
The music of the spheres.
The music of the spheres,
Yeah.
So there's a much bigger piece in all of this, I feel like our voices just, if we're awake, we can connect our voices to that with our intention and our heart's desire. And then it's amazing. I feel like a lot gets done in the world, a lot of positivity, a lot of shifts, and then we can align our dharma with that. That's what I feel like anyway. We can connect our dharma to those shifts and have a bigger impact, hopefully for the better. While we're here.
Well, you seem to have a lot of energy behind you and underneath you right now, lifting.
Yeah, I think that's also from singing.
Yeah, and then your singing will go forward.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Now, I just want to say, Steve gave us a copy of his CD just a couple days ago, so I popped it in my car, and as I heard the first song, and you were talking about the fusion of things, I thought, oh, my granddaughter's going to love this.
Kids love this music.
I said, well, I have to get it to her because she just loves this. It has to be, then she'll start singing and chanting.
Yeah.
But it has to be, her rhythm.
That's right. I've had a lot of folks come to me and tell me that their kids are our biggest fans. Yeah.
So I wonder, we'll see what happens in the next few years if you co-create, the three of you.
Wonderful.
Co-create.
Yeah. I just received an inquiry from someone today who was interested in helping launch that. I had another woman in the San Diego area, who's interested in organizing kids kirtan. So I think I'm getting called out for that.
There you go.
It's for the kids for sure. I mean, I believe also the importance of this is to give the kids the tools to deal with what they're being left to deal with.
Yeah.
And so that's part of my work for sure.
Well, we'll put you on Soul TV. Get your little group and the kids.
I love that.
What was that Taylor was into for a while? Was it Rafi or who is it that's been
Rafi?
Rafi, right?
But now she's chanting Om Gana.
But I know, but then there's a niche waiting for you.
Yeah, with the kids too.
Mainstream children.
Yeah, mainstream kids. Yeah,
right.
I know there's other artists that are doing this. But it's still very yoga centric. Let's just say that.
It is.
Okay.
Got to get it. Like Sanatam did a beautiful kids CD.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Jayutal put one out too, and it's all the stories of the deities. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And but I think I'd like to do something that still is a little more further reaching.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't want to alienate anybody. Yeah.
Well, you just. I hope it sounds good to you because it certainly sounds.
We've
good
just put it out to the universe.
No, right? Yeah. But you've just kind of put your mission out there to the universe in this little conversation.
Wonderful.
I mean, I like the fact that you are so. You are open to be unique. You are open to be how Source wants to use you with no filters, no leanings. Just use me. Yeah. And that originality, I think, is what is so attractive.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
recognizing
it'll be
that.
fun. It'll be
Yeah.
fun to watch you get really famous. Will you still come and sit here
Oh, are you kidding me?
when you're really rich and famous?
Singing in our
I
yoga
say
class.
community is the new currency. Count me in.
Oh,
Oh,
I love
And,
it.
yeah,
So true.
and that's how I feel about how I've, cultivated what I've done around me. It's the community that's helped me so much.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
Same with
giving
us.
back is not even really a question. It's
Yeah.
about being involved,
Mm.
and so what can I do for you is a much better approach,
Right.
and that's just how can we, let's sing some songs, like
Yeah.
let's get down to it, I feel like I'm a spiritual activist with music, I'll say that.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's my piece, really. That's the
Ooh.
drive. When I thought of okay, who in music would I really inspires me? Who would I emulate? Who did what I'd like to do? I saw.
Did you come up with anybody?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pete Seeger. He inspired the civil rights movement with song. And he had no problem getting up in front of 500,000 people and with just a guitar, which is like a big deal, really.
Right.
I'm like, I need an accompanist or something, It's like, no, he just was just clearly up there with a banjo or a guitar and just, singing
Singing
it,
his heart out.
Yeah, singing his
Yeah.
heart out. And he sang "We Shall Overcome" and got everybody singing along. I mean, that to
There
me,
you go.
that wasn't about him. That was about, I've got a job to do, and I'm going to get these people singing, and together we're going to make a change.
Yeah, there
right?
you go.
That to
That's
me
huge.
is like the way to go.
And it's you're believing in the power of what you're doing.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
believing in yourself, and you put those two
Yeah.
together, and it's like
Yeah.
you can change the world.
Yeah, that's it right
through,
there.
through this, what's coming through you. And
Yeah, I'm all for entertainment. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that as just the end. No, I don't
Right.
really care about that.
well, what about then another story of Yogananda? He comes to the West, and he's got the ochre robe and the long hair, and he's one of those big cities back east, and
It
auditorium.
was New York City.
New York City, and just his magnetism alone brought souls there. And then he sings "Oh God, Beautiful" for over an hour with all these people.
But all the Americans said to him, they knew he was planning on doing it, and because he was at Carnegie Hall or someplace like that,
Someplace
and
like
he
that.
was packed, and he said, I'm going to chant and just lift them with music, and the Americans said, don't do that, we're not used to it. He
Yeah.
said, okay, right. He just started chanting, and for an hour, one chant, and of course his consciousness
Yeah.
through
Yes.
his voice
Of course.
took everyone to a place they'd never been before.
Absolutely. I believe that, and I'll tell you, I'll get in a room sometimes with 100 city folk, let's just say that, okay? And I've lived in the city, so I understand city folk a bit. But there's this certain, that kind of restless, jaded quality, if you will. They're hungry. They don't know what they're hungry for. They're there, but they still have that kind of skeptical look on their face, or, why'd you bring me here kind of thing, to whoever they're with. And I realize in that moment, if I doubt myself or my mission for a second,
nice.
they're going to eat me alive.
Oh, so
Right?
true.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just,
Right.
I let that go as fast as possible and just get down to what you just shared about Yogananda. I'm just going to sing. I really don't care what happens here or the outcome or what
Right.
they might think or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let that all go and just sing, and inevitably the guy in the corner who's, been looking at me shifty for the first 20 minutes has got a smile on his face, So I think that's just a testimony of, are you willing to show up and do what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, walk into the fear
Yeah,
and do
yeah,
what you're supposed
just
to
do
do.
what you're supposed to do.
There you go.
And that, by the way, is really, I'm not a singer, but I also teach. If it's not evident already, right, and just in this conversation.
It's very evident.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
part of what I'm here to do is hopefully inspire people to get to their heart's desire and get through that fear, because believe me, it took me a long time to put out the first album. Years. I didn't fall in love with my own voice. Wasn't clear with myself. I wasn't honest with my mission. I was hiding, So even when I went to the waterfall and lived there and chanted, I thought that's what I was supposed to do to go have a spiritual life. And the reality was, I remember one day I was reading this book, this beautiful book, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I've been reading it for a long time, but I'd always avoided this one sentence. It said, forget about enlightenment. if you've given up all your possessions to go live at the waterfall, that's the last thing you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
No girlfriend, no bank account. Oh my God, what am I doing here? But he said, go exhaust your desires. And I realized I had so many desires, and one of them was to connect with people and sing and to do my mission. And so that means getting to work.
Go exhaust them.
Go exhaust them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to work a little bit for us?
Sure, right now I'd like
Do
to
your
exhaust a
Dharma?
song. How
Would you like to exhaust a song?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. There you go, man.
So
We'll set the intention that this song will reach the hearts of many, many
wonderful.
thousands of souls, if not more. And
Shall we do something we sing together?
well, once we pick up the melody.
Sure. He's calling us out. We're going to sing with him.
Imagine we're sitting at the waterfall right now. And there's a breeze. There's the sound of the water splashing on the pool. There's a bird singing a song. I'm going to invite you to chant Om Namah Shivaya with me. Among all those sounds, it begins with Namo. Namo is to bow. I think of bowing to the heart. It's much easier for me than bowing to something outside of myself. Namo, Namo. It's that simple. Namo, Namo. And you in the audience. Namo, Namo. All 500,000 of you. Namo, Namo. Yeah, sing to your heart. Namo, 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 Namo. We'll sing Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. Shanti is peace. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. And then we go up like this. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. One more time. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. Now you know the whole mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. 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 And pour your heart into it. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. It's wonderful. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. 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 So wonderful. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Namah Shivaya. Om Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shanti. So wonderful. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shanti. Namo, Namo, Namo. It's wonderful. Namo, Namo, Shanti. 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 Namo, 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 Shanti. Namo, Namo, Shanti.
Oh, we were there. We were in Maui.
I
On
was
the
too.
water.
And I know you're probably wondering, why'd you leave?
We know why you left. You left for all of us to enjoy.
Yeah,
your gifts.
absolutely. That was it, you know? I think one day the waterfall and the birds and the wind, it all just became Om Namah Shivaya.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, time to go and sing elsewhere.
Yeah, and we'll all pray for him because he has to live in Encinitas.
On the beach.
On the beach. I know.
Waves are coming in.
Get you bored.
I know.
There's another version to that we sing in Encinitas. The waves are coming in.
Yeah.
Get you bored. You know, I could feel the change in vibration. Did anybody feel it
Yes.
from before to after?
And what I got, you know, this is the blessing from having this interview with you, is that if you're going to sing, why not sing with everything you got?
Absolutely.
And without a distraction, and sing to the one, right? I mean, if you're going to sing, why not do it that way?
Yeah.
I was feeling that when we were chanting
Wonderful.
along. So whatever grace or blessing that was, that felt really good.
You got the buzz.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
right? and the power.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
believe in your mission. I mean, it's
Thank
like,
you.
you know, the power of what?
Yeah, that's it. And that's the beauty of singing together,
Yeah.
is because together our energies, you know, entrain, and we can just go there so fast. I call it the main line to the divine. You know, we can talk
Yeah.
about it. You know, I can talk, but I can't take you there with talk. You know, I can take you there with music. So.
And we get to enjoy that when you do the concert here this month.
Yay!
In a couple weeks,
Same
the
idea,
28th.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a concert, we call it that,
Yeah,
but
but
really
it's-
it's a hootenanny.
That's mainlining to the
It's the
vine.
main line of the divine. We'll all show up and sing together.
Right?
Hey, why don't we be creative in how we close this thing? Why don't
Sure.
you close this with a little mantra, chant, an om, something that we can do together to just end the energy and leave everyone.
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Sure. Like a wave of ohms, we can join our voices. Om is an exuberant yes to the universe. Collectively, one more.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, and stay tuned. You'll see the contact information for Steve coming up shortly.
Wonderful. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you all for
Namaste.
being here today, too. Yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you for having me.